Okay, in this session I'm going to show you how to use the radar instruction with some more parameters, and we're also going to see how to use a simple while loop. So we are doing chapter 8 and I'm going to do 2 of these exercises that should help you do your assignment, which is exercise number 6. So let's start with exercise number 2, which is path 2. Click play and click on our wheeled grabber, and let's take a look and see what we need to do here. If we hit F1, it says find the way to the goal area using the blue flags without falling into the lava lake. So our goal is to essentially go through all the blue flags, and if you reduce this, you can see, if you reduce the area, we have 1, 2, 3, I believe we have 4, 5, 6, about 7 flags. So our goal is to go through all of the flags and then finally get to the goal area. So let's see what instructions we need to use. So we have our item, which we declare, which is our variable. We're going to use the radar instruction, and we're going to take the blue flag's position and put it into item, and we are going to use a go to instruction, which if you had done path 1, it says how to use the go to instruction. So let's use that. Click on this, go edit code, and let's first declare our variable that says object item. Item is going to be of type object, or you can call it object flag, it does not matter. Then we're going to say flag equals radar of blue flag with a capital B and a capital F, comma, that's the name, 0 and 180. What does the 0 and 180 mean? So let's take a look again, go back to F1 and take a look at the radar instruction. So if you click on the radar instruction, it gives you more information. So if you look at it, let's go down and see what it means. It says category, which is the name of our item here, which is the blue flag. And then the next one is the angle. And what does the angle mean? Angle and focus, it says. So the angle is essentially seen from, if you look at this picture, the angle is the direction the bot is facing, and the focus is how many degrees do you want it to focus. So if this number is 30, there is the focus, and 60 degrees says it's going to look for a total of 60 degrees with that as the center. So in our case, we have 0 and 180. So this is our 0. If you watch my mouse arrow, that is the 0, and we are going to be doing a total of 180, which is a 90 on either side. So think of it as a semicircle looking in the front. So what that tells us is we are only looking in the front of this bot, and we're not going to look behind, because once we get to this flag, our goal is to move forward and keep going forward and not to come back to these flags. So in order to do that, you're only going to look forward. There's the 0 degrees. The 180 says span a total of 180 with the 0 in the center. So which is why we have 0 and 180, which tells our robot to look only in the front. Okay, then we're going to say go to flag dot position. Now that we have our position in flag using the radar instruction, you can say go to flag dot position. Now let's try that. That does it one time, notice, for the first flag. So if we start, our bot goes there and it stops because we haven't said anything more. So I'm going to restart it. We're going to go back in there, and we're going to repeat that 7 times because there are 7 flags. So we're going to repeat that 7 times. I'm going to take that code out of there and put it inside my repeat. We know how to use repeat. And of course the declaration of the variable can stay outside. We declare it one time, that's good enough. We don't have to do it inside of the repeat. Now let's try that and see what we get. Go a little faster. Now, I'm going to stop for a second, because if you keep going, it's going to spin its wheels right there. It's lost because it keeps circling around that same flag. We need to tell it, once we get to that flag, we need to go beyond it. We need to say, don't look at this flag anymore, go forward. So if we go back to our instruction, let's go back to our radar. We have a few more parameters we can add to it. So that was the angle to tell it to look in the front. Now we also have a minimum and a maximum distance. The minimum distance is, as you can see, that 4 meters from where you want it to start looking, and the maximum is where you want it to stop looking. So in our case, if we put a minimum distance away from that current flag, then we will be able to go forward. So I'm going to put a comma here, and I'm going to add a minimum of 1 unit is all I need, and I'm going to have a maximum of 1,000 because I can go as far as I want. I will keep moving forward, which is my goal. So a minimum of 1 will get me away from that current flag and will let me go forward. So let's take a look at that, see if it does any better. And so it's done. So that way the radar instruction is good to limit the viewpoint to what we want. Okay, now that we've seen that, let's go take a look at another exercise, and let's look at faster. Faster is pretty much the same thing. If we go in here and take a look at it, see what we wanted to do, it's very similar to what we just did. If you look at the picture here, you can see that it's the same set of flags, but they want us to go a little bit more faster. So instead of using the go to or even the move instruction, there's a drive instruction which takes 2 parameters, and this tells you all the different parameters, combination of the parameters that you can have. 0, 0 pretty much comes to a stop. 1, 0, 1 is the first number, is the speed, and as it says, it ranges from -1, minus goes backward to 1, so you can have a 0.5, 0.2 which goes slow, and 1 is full speed forward. And the second parameter is whether it goes or how you want to turn. So if you say 0, we're going to go straight. If you say 1, we are going to turn left, and if you say -1, we're going to turn right. And then you can always put some numbers in between to turn slightly. So in this case, what we want to do is we want to simply turn towards the direction of our flag and drive forward as fast as we can to get there faster. Okay, so let's first implement one instruction. So first we're going to go in here and we're going to say, we're going to do our object flag, which we had before, and we're going to use our radar. Flag equals radar of blue flag, comma, we're going to look in front, 0, 180. We're going to go for a minimum and a maximum distance just like we did before. Then we're going to say turn towards the flag, and we want to turn towards the direction of our item, which is flag dot position. So turn towards direction of flag dot position. That will turn the bot towards that flag, and then we can drive forward, drive at full speed forward. So let's try that. Okay, so now if I have an error, it says closing bracket missing. I need one more bracket there. So let's try that, and it doesn't want to go anywhere. While true, and put all this inside the while. We'll talk about the while true in a minute, see if that helps. Okay, so the drive command must be inside the while loop. So there is the first one, and there is the second one, so it goes to the next one. Let's make it go a little faster. Okay, so then we're going to stop and go back into it. So the while says, let's take a look at the while. The while says the while loop will repeat the instructions between the braces as long as the condition is true. And the while true is an infinite loop where there is no end to it. It also says we will need one more instruction after the instruction drive. We need a wait in order to give the robot some time to execute the instruction. For the most part, it works without the wait, but you could give it the wait, 0.1, and that should complete our code here. So the while true says as long as this condition is true, which in this case is always true, it keeps going. And the drive requires the while in order for it to keep moving, so we know it goes from one to the other as opposed to our go to and our move instructions. So in our next video for the next assignment, we will take a look at more conditions that we can put in our while loop. Now the spiders that you need to do is very similar to this, as long as you watch your parameters. So this works. Let's get out of here for a second. Let's take a quick look at the spiders. And it says, if you go look into the instruction, it says move towards the spiders that are out of the shooting range. The range of a fireball cannon is 40 meters. So 40 meters meaning you have to get as close as you can to 40 meters of the spider before you can fire. Otherwise it won't have any effect on the spider. So that minimum distance in your radar must be at least 40 meters, and that will help you get through and shoot the spiders.